There is a power that moves beneath the surface of every great achievement, a force that never makes headlines, never seeks applause, never needs validation. It is the power of unseen work. It's the quiet grind when no one's watching. It's the commitment to build when the world is asleep. It's what turns ordinary men into legends, and impossible dreams into living monuments of discipline and will. You see, the universe doesn't reward talent. It doesn't bow to potential. It rewards consistency. It rewards those who show up long after the excitement fades, long after the applause stops, long after everyone else has given up. The world may not see your effort now, but the universe keeps score in silence. Every empire you've ever admired was once invisible. Before there was a Ford Motor Company, there was a man named Henry Ford in a small shed, working alone by candlelight, assembling parts that failed more often than they worked. Before there was electricity in every home, there was Thomas Edison, failing over 1,000 times in pursuit of one working light bulb. Before Walt Disney built his kingdom, he was a man who was fired for lacking imagination. What did they all have in common? They worked when no one believed. They endured the mockery, the silence, the long nights, the financial ruin, the endless waiting. They understood what most people never will, that success doesn't arrive fully formed. It grows in darkness. It matures in obscurity. It blooms only for those who dare to keep watering the soil long after it seems barren. But in today's world, we are addicted to results. We worship speed. We glorify the visible, the viral, the instant. People want the applause before they've earned the echo. They want success without sacrifice, validation without the sweat. And yet, that's not how the universe operates. The universe doesn't hand crowns to those who crave comfort. It hands them to those who commit in silence. Because discipline is the invisible thread that binds dreamers to destiny. It is the bridge between what you imagine and what you manifest. It's not glamorous, it's not dramatic, but it's divine. You must understand, every seed of greatness begins in the unseen. The roots of your future are buried deep in the ground of your habits. You cannot see them yet, but they're there, strengthening with every decision, every hour of focus, every moment of resistance against distraction. The universe watches what you do when no one's clapping. It watches how you treat your vision when the world doubts you. It watches how you act when you have every reason to quit. And it decides your reward based on one simple law: what you sustain in private, the world will one day celebrate in public. But that's where most people break. Because unseen work feels like punishment before it feels like purpose. It feels like you're going nowhere, like your effort is invisible, like you're wasting time. But here's the truth: every invisible moment is compounding in the unseen. Every repetition builds momentum, every disciplined action creates vibration, every sacrifice adds weight to the outcome. You might not see the results now, but the universe is keeping perfect books. The compound interest of effort never fails to pay out, it just pays in its own time, not yours. Think of the mountain climber. The higher he climbs, the harder it gets to breathe. The peak seems far away, and the air thin. He can't see the summit yet, but every step upward changes his perspective. Every inch of discipline brings him closer to clarity. The pain is the evidence of elevation. That's the same truth in your journey. When it gets harder, when it feels slower, when no one believes, that's when you're rising. The struggle is proof that you're advancing toward something the average person will never touch. Most people stop when they no longer see progress. But progress isn't always visible. The seed doesn't sprout the moment it's planted. It sits in darkness, gathering unseen energy, growing roots that no one claps for. The same law governs your goals. The work you're doing right now, that no one appreciates, is feeding the roots of your destiny. If you abandon it too soon, you'll never taste the harvest. Discipline means doing the right thing long after it feels right. It's staying loyal to what you said you'd do, even when the feeling that inspired you to start has died. And here's the paradox most never grasp. True freedom comes from discipline, not from ease. The man who obeys his impulses is a slave. The man who controls them is free. The one who drifts from distraction to distraction never builds anything that lasts. But the one who disciplines his focus can move mountains. When Napoleon Hill wrote that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit, he wasn't speaking in metaphors. He was describing universal law. Your discipline plants those seeds. Your unseen work waters them. And your unwavering faith gives them sunlight. There's a reason every great builder in history was misunderstood. People mocked Andrew Carnegie when he spent years studying steel while others chased quick profits. They mocked Edison when he said he'd light the world. They mocked Ford when he said every family would own a car. They mocked Disney when he bought Swampland for a dream. But they all had one thing in common: they were loyal to the invisible process. They trusted their vision when it was still unseen. They didn't wait for validation. They became their own source of belief. Because when no one believes in you, discipline must become your faith. Let's be honest, you don't need motivation. Motivation fades. You need principles, you need habits, you need structure. Motivation is loud, but discipline whispers. It whispers at 5 a.m. when you want to sleep in. It whispers when your friends go out, and you choose to stay in and work. It whispers when your body says I'm tired but your purpose says not yet. And it's in those whispers where destiny is formed. The world celebrates the roar of achievement, but the universe rewards the whispers of discipline. You cannot cheat the law of sowing and reaping. You cannot skip the season of planting and expect the season of harvest. The man who demands results without work is the same as the farmer who curses the ground because he didn't sow the seed. Life owes you nothing until you've paid in full with consistency. And the payment required is always greater than you expect. Because the universe doesn't reward halfway effort, it rewards those who burn their ships and commit fully to the journey ahead. But make no mistake, discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect. It's the declaration that you value your destiny more than your comfort. When you discipline yourself, you are sending a signal to the universe that says, I am ready. Ready for responsibility. Ready for reward. Ready for success. That's when things begin to shift. People call it luck, coincidence, alignment, but it's none of those. It's law. Cause and effect. The unseen always manifests into the seen, but only for those who remain steady through the silence. If you want proof, look at nature. The tree doesn't grow because it's trying to be seen. It grows because it must. It grows because the seed within it was programmed for greatness, and that code cannot be erased. You, too, were programmed for greatness. The difference between those who bloom and those who wither is not potential, it's perseverance. It's the refusal to give up when it's dark, when it's quiet, when no one sees you. Every minute of unseen work sends ripples through the invisible field that governs this universe, and those ripples always return multiplied. That's why you must not rush your season. Don't dig up your seed to check if it's growing. Trust the process. Water it. Guard it. Wait for it. And keep working in the unseen until your vision forces the world to notice. The discipline you show today becomes the foundation of your tomorrow. The hours you invest when no one's watching become the walls that protect your future. Every time you resist distraction, you reinforce destiny. Every time you choose persistence over pleasure, you move closer to purpose. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is sacred. It's the quiet covenant between you and your highest potential. It's the invisible contract between your present self and the person you're becoming. And when you honor it daily, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Not because of magic, but because you've aligned yourself with the natural laws of creation. Work, persistence, patience, those are divine forces. And when you master them, the invisible becomes inevitable. There will come a time in your journey when no one claps for you, when no one asks how you're doing, when your name fades from conversations and your effort feels invisible. That's the season when most people stop. But that is the exact moment the universe is watching most closely. Because discipline is not proven in ease, it's revealed in isolation. When the crowd is gone and you still keep your promise to yourself, that's when you cross the invisible threshold that separates dreamers from doers. The unseen work is sacred because it is where you meet your truest self, stripped of praise, stripped of validation, face to face with your own reflection. And it's in that silence that you realize success was never about applause. It was always about alignment. You are not here to impress. You are here to express the divine potential that was placed within you before you were born. Think of the blacksmith who spends hours hammering metal against fire. Every strike seems repetitive, every blow the same, until one day, the blade shines. The sword doesn't become strong by chance, it becomes strong by heat, by pressure, by repetition. So it is with you. The mind must be hammered daily by discipline until it bends no longer to weakness. That's how you forge a soul of steel. You see, most people look at a masterpiece and praise the artist, but they forget the thousands of invisible brushstrokes behind it. They admire the castle but ignore the stones carried one by one. They celebrate the victory but forget the battles that were fought in solitude. The world only sees the finished product, but greatness is born in the drafts that no one reads, in the failures no one records, in the mornings no one remembers. There is a law written into the fabric of the universe, that every disciplined act carries within it a seed of reward. Not always immediate, not always visible, but always inevitable. When you commit yourself to excellence, when you choose mastery over mediocrity, the universe rearranges itself to make room for your growth. It may not happen fast, but it will happen faithfully. Because unseen effort builds unseen momentum, and unseen momentum always precedes visible miracles. The tragedy of our generation is impatience. We measure success by the speed of feedback, not the depth of transformation. We want 6-month results for 10-year dreams. But real growth is not a sprint, it's a pilgrimage. It's walking a path few are willing to take, through doubt, delay, and discipline. Success doesn't come to the one who starts the journey with excitement. It comes to the one who continues the journey with endurance. When Napoleon Hill spoke of persistence, he called it the twin brother of faith. You cannot separate the two. Faith is believing in what you cannot see. Persistence is working toward it anyway. There's a quote often misused, hard work never fails. But that's not entirely true. Hard work done without direction fails every day. It's not just about working hard, it's about working with purpose, with clarity, with intention. The disciplined man doesn't just move, he moves deliberately. He studies, he adjusts, he learns. Every failure becomes a teacher, every delay becomes a test, and every small victory becomes fuel for the next ascent. The undisciplined man, however, runs in circles, always busy, rarely productive. His energy is scattered, his attention divided, his results fleeting. The disciplined man knows that focus is power. When you direct your full being toward a single aim, reality itself bends. Do not underestimate the power of invisible preparation. Before the gladiator entered the arena, he trained in silence. Before the musician stepped onto the stage, she played in empty rooms. Before the general commanded an army, he studied maps by candlelight. The moments you prepare in silence determine the noise of your future victories. Every day you delay your potential, you betray your destiny. But every day you show up, even without results, you add another brick to the empire you are building. And make no mistake, you are building an empire. Not of money, not of fame, but of character. Discipline is the currency of that empire. Every choice to stay focused, every hour you invest when no one notices, every temptation you overcome, those are deposits into your legacy. The returns come not when you demand them, but when you've earned them. Because the universe is not transactional, it is transformational. It doesn't pay you by the hour, it pays you by the person you become. You must begin to see your life as a sculpture, not a sprint. The sculptor doesn't create by adding, he creates by removing. He chips away at the excess, the distraction, the weakness, until only the masterpiece remains. Discipline is that chisel. It carves away everything that is not you. Every moment you say no to what doesn't serve you, you refine the vision of who you are meant to be. That's why unseen work matters. It's not just shaping your goals, it's shaping your soul. But the process is not kind. It will break you before it builds you. The path of discipline is narrow, lonely, and often thankless. You will lose friends who don't understand your focus. You will be called obsessed, arrogant, heartless. But obsession is the price of excellence. Every great life demands sacrifice, the comfort of belonging, the ease of distraction, the warmth of mediocrity. Greatness is cold, but it burns brighter than comfort ever will. The universe tests you with isolation not to punish you, but to prepare you. It removes the noise so you can finally hear your inner command. Keep going. You must develop the courage to work without applause, the faith to move without guarantees, the vision to continue without evidence. That is the secret of the disciplined mind. It is immune to doubt because it has made peace with delay. It doesn't need proof, it creates proof through persistence. Every man who has ever achieved something monumental was once told to quit. Edison was told he was wasting his life. Ford was called insane. Oprah was told she didn't belong on television. Hill himself was ridiculed for writing a book on thinking rich. But they all shared one secret: they didn't stop when it was silent. They worked unseen until the unseen became undeniable. When you understand this, something within you changes. You stop needing instant results. You stop measuring success by likes, views, or opinions. You stop chasing validation and start cultivating value. Because you realize that the greatest satisfaction is not being seen, it's knowing you've become someone worthy of being seen. And when that happens, you walk differently. You speak differently. You act with quiet authority. You move like someone who knows the universe owes him nothing, but is preparing to give him everything he's earned. The disciplined life is a lonely road at first, but it leads to freedom. Freedom from dependence on others' approval. Freedom from the chaos of inconsistency. Freedom from the torment of unfulfilled potential. Discipline is the gatekeeper of peace. When your actions align with your purpose, your soul finds rest even in struggle. That's why disciplined people seem calm, because they're not fighting themselves anymore. They've made peace with the process. And understand this, the universe is not testing you to see if you can handle failure. It's testing you to see if you can handle success. Because success demands responsibility. It demands maturity. It demands strength. If you cannot master yourself, you cannot master anything. That's why discipline is divine. It's not about restriction, it's about preparation. Every act of self-control is the universe sharpening your tools. Every act of patience is the universe strengthening your foundation. Every act of resilience is the universe confirming that you are ready for more. You may feel unseen now, but the universe sees every move. It's not ignoring you, it's observing you. It's asking, will you still show up when it's quiet? Will you still give your best when no one's clapping? Will you still pursue excellence when no one is watching? Because if you can, you've already won. The external reward is just a delayed reflection of your internal evolution. The disciplined man doesn't chase outcomes, he becomes the kind of person to whom outcomes naturally come. You must decide today that your work will not depend on being seen. That your drive will not depend on being praised. That your purpose will not depend on approval. When you do that, you transcend average. You cross into the realm of the uncommon, where few can follow. Because while the majority crave comfort, you'll crave growth. While they look for shortcuts, you'll look for mastery. While they stop when it hurts, you'll move because it hurts. And one day, they'll call you lucky. They'll call you gifted. They'll call you blessed. But you'll know the truth, you were just disciplined enough to keep going when they quit. The clock does not stop for the undisciplined. Time will pass whether you are prepared or not. The question is not whether the opportunity will come, the question is whether you will be ready when it arrives. The undisciplined pray for miracles. The disciplined prepare for them. Preparation is the language through which the universe communicates. When you work in silence, you are writing invisible letters to destiny, and destiny always reads fluency and effort. The universe responds to energy, not words, not wishes, not dreams spoken once in excitement and forgotten in comfort. It moves in rhythm with your repetition, your consistency, your persistence. The vibration of discipline is faith in motion. There is a law older than civilization, older than the pyramids, older than language itself. It says that every cause has an effect, that every action plants a seed, that every seed bears fruit according to its kind. It means your unseen work will never be lost. You may feel delayed, you may feel overlooked, but nothing done in discipline is ever wasted. The energy you invest into your growth will return multiplied, often from places you never expected. That is why the wise do not chase results, they build habits, knowing that habits produce results as naturally as the sun produces light. There will be moments when your mind rebels against the routine, when your heart screams for rest, when the progress feels invisible. That is when faith must take command. Napoleon Hill called faith the eternal elixir that gives life to thought. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that your faith is real. Every time you follow through on a promise you made to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you can be trusted. You become reliable in your own eyes, and that reliability becomes power. A man who trusts himself does not fear delay, because he knows his work is building something that time itself cannot destroy. Look back through history and you will see this pattern repeated endlessly. Edison worked for years without recognition. Da Vinci painted and studied for decades before the world called him genius. Beethoven composed music even after losing his hearing. These were not miracles, they were consequences of discipline. Their greatness was invisible until it wasn't. The world only saw the final form. They never saw the unseen hours that shaped it. You cannot escape this law. You cannot skip the dark room of preparation and expect to shine under the spotlight of success. When you are tempted to quit, remind yourself of this simple truth. Growth hides behind boredom. Progress lives in repetition. Every master was once a beginner who endured monotony longer than anyone else. The difference between mediocrity and mastery is not brilliance, it is endurance. You will never feel ready. You will never feel excited every day. But if you can move forward without needing to feel inspired, you will separate yourself from 99% of people who never will. Discipline is doing what must be done long after motivation has left the room. There is a season in every dream called obscurity, and it is the most sacred of all. Obscurity protects you while you learn. It hides you while you make mistakes. It allows you to fail privately so that one day you may succeed publicly without collapsing. That is why unseen work must be cherished, not feared. The spotlight is heavy. Only those strengthened by silence can stand beneath it. When you rise too early, the light burns you. But when you build patiently, the light reveals you. Think of a mountain spring pushing through rock. It is invisible for years, slowly carving a channel through stone. No one sees its progress. No one applauds its effort. But when it finally breaks through, it becomes a river. The world only sees the water. It never sees the years of pressure behind it. That pressure, that unseen resistance, is what gives the flow its strength. The same law applies to you. Every challenge you face is not blocking your path, it is building your pressure. Every delay is not denial, it is preparation. The universe does not test your dream, it tests your dedication to it. You must become loyal to your vision when the results are invisible. That is the essence of self-mastery. To hold belief not because of evidence, but until evidence appears. To trust that the process is working even when progress hides. To show up for yourself because you have decided that quitting is no longer an option. When you reach that level of discipline, you become magnetic. People feel it. Opportunities feel it. Life itself begins to move around you differently. Because nothing is stronger than a human being who no longer negotiates with weakness. Discipline is not about grinding until exhaustion. It is about alignment. It is about placing your actions in harmony with your purpose. When you act in alignment, your effort multiplies. Every moment becomes meaningful. Every task becomes sacred. You begin to feel the quiet rhythm of success moving beneath your routine. It is subtle, but it is there, a pulse that tells you are in tune with the universal current of growth. The undisciplined fight against it, the disciplined flow with it. Gratitude must become your companion in this process. Gratitude turns repetition into devotion. When you thank the universe for the small progress, you invite greater progress. Gratitude transforms unseen work into worship. The man who complains about the climb never reaches the summit, but the man who is grateful for every step finds strength in the struggle itself. Gratitude and discipline are twin forces. One gives purpose to your work, the other gives power to it. Together, they transform ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Every day, life will offer you two choices, discipline or distraction. Distraction feels good now. Discipline feels good forever. Distraction feeds the ego. Discipline feeds the soul. Distraction promises fast pleasure. Discipline delivers lasting peace. The disciplined person understands that short-term sacrifice is the price of long-term freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from mediocrity. Freedom from the haunting thought that you could have been more. So work when it's quiet. Build when it's dark. Grow when no one applauds. Because one day, the silence will break. One day, the world will ask where you came from, how you did it, why you never stopped. And you will smile, because you will know that everything they see was once invisible. The results they admire were once struggles you endured. The success they envy was once discipline you practiced. The universe rewards the disciplined because the disciplined respect the law of creation. Do the work, and the results will follow. Always. Now is your season of unseen work. Guard it. Honor it. Protect it from doubt. Let every sunrise remind you that the universe keeps its promises, but only to those who keep theirs. You have within you the power to outlast every delay, outwork every obstacle, and outgrow every limitation. Your unseen work is not small. It is sacred. Every repetition is a prayer. Every act of discipline is an affirmation that you are becoming the person your destiny requires.